a massive solvable market failure. Because we smallholder farmers produce 80% of Africa's food and mainly operate in the popular economy. Now, if we have CFOs that see this as an entry point and not the import bill as a market entry point, we will be in a different situation, because it means that the ESG impact will be lifting millions of improving food security and stabilizing communities. The financial return will be access to vast and underserved market around the continent. So what I'm suggesting is to think about what the Bank of Ghana did a couple of years ago when it issued the comprehensive guidelines about branchless banking in 2011. What happened then, EcoBank deployed a solution that allowed for people in the popular economy to leverage and have open doors express account. What we saw is three actors: the regulator, which defined a secure, transparent rule set; the bank, which leveraged the private sector infrastructure and efficiency; and popular economy that provided grassroots trust and immediate effect. So in my view, there are three imperatives for the African CFO. Redefine risk adaptively and thinking about climate change and social inequality. Unlock capital inclusively, thinking about green bonds, sustainability-linked loans, blended finance. And measure true value morally. Return on equity matters, so does return on community. So, as I leave you with the thought of what a bar of soap that became a billion-dollar business, it's when finance met purpose and adapted to how communities live. Agricultural technology is unlocking markets when ESG metrics guard capital to build on what exists. Agency banking scaled financial inclusion when state, private sector, and the popular economy collaborated. So we are in a moment where the African leaders that you have in the finance sector have to take ownership of this transformation that we are facing. You are the architects of the African transformation in a multipolar world. The decision you make in terms of where capital flows, how risk is measured, and whether you build on what we have will determine whether our continent's growth is extractive or inclusive, fragile or resilient, short-term or sustainable. I think Africa is ready. The popular economy is ready too. The question is, are you ready to build with it? Thank you.
Food for thought. All right. Our moderator is Randolph Arnold, Partner Accounting, KPMG, Ghana. Randolph, where are you? There you are. Randolph is going to come and take over. Randolph, shall I introduce your panelists, or would you like to do that yourself? Shall I do that for you? Extra $1,000 for you. All right. John Boateng Akweku Teria is the Africa Head of Sustainable Finance Advisory Associate Director from KPMG. John, if you can join us on the stage if you're here. Pawan Agrawal is the credit rating expert, CareEdge. Pawan, please do us the honors of coming on stage. Salifou Ba is the Director of Finance, Petroleum Commission of the Gambia. All right, Salifou, you're very welcome. George Ba is the CFO, FNB Ghana. George, where are you? George from FNB. I saw George not too long ago. All right, no problem at all. I'm sure he'll be joining us when he gets back. So in that case, Randolph, you have a cool 35 minutes. At 30 minutes, I will stand up and walk around the room. That's when you know that it's time for you to come down. But for now, over to you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So we're dealing with a topic, balancing ESG with corporate reporting, and I'm happy to be coordinating this. All right, so I'll start with Pawan. With the emergence of how, from your field, right, how are ESG impacting credit ratings now?
Hello. Yeah, I think rightly, as we discussed, the world of finance is adopting ESG pretty well, and credit ratings is obviously a part and cannot therefore be left behind. In fact, if we look at credit ratings have factored in what is now called ESG principles right from very beginning. So for example, when credit ratings used to, when we used to rate, let's say, sovereigns or corporations or banking, the fundamental of governance is always embedded into how we would evaluate a particular entity. It can be in any form or shape. Earlier also, for example, companies that were into projects that were environmentally harmful or were looking at areas which were socially more responsible, they were always treated little bit differently in the analysis. However, with formalization of ESG, what has happened is more information has started to become available on how the companies are now incorporating environmental sustainability factors into their balance sheet. In what manner are they are now setting up targets going forward as to this is how we will reduce our carbon footprint, we will reduce our water intake. Now what that is doing is it is making it easier for a rating agency to incorporate some of those aspects formally into the credit rating process in evaluating the impact on the cash flows. And that is a big shift that I would say in recent times because it is enabling a better visibility on what is happening on some of these principles in a more quantifiable manner. Otherwise, some of these aspects were always elements that were more judgmental rather than quantifiable. So in fact, we have, as a rating agency, started looking at rating global sovereigns. And in our sovereign rating framework, which is the CareEdge Global Sovereign Ratings Framework, we have formally factored in the environmental commitment of a sovereign to, let's say, use renewable energy going forward, in what manner and matter some of these metrics are incorporated formally into our methodology. What it is actually helping us do is to bring to light what is something which was always there but not as well known. So to that extent, yes, ESG recently our elements, our disclosures are adding to the richness of the ability for a rating agency to discriminate.
All right, thank you, Pawan. Let me go to John. So John, we see ESG standards or sustainability reporting standards emerging, IFRS S1 and S2 and the likes. How can finance leaders or businesses ensure that they integrate all these metrics and the rest into their planning and all of that?
Thank you. Hello, thank you. So I would want to start with the point that this animal called ESG has been with us, but it appears that we tend to change the notions, like there's a new thing that is happening. So within the world of finance, right, there is people, planet, as Carl said, and profit. And businesses, I mean, all the time are focused on profit and bottom line. But we know that in the bottom line, there are other three bottom lines. As Carl will say, how does finance serve the people and the planet? Meaning that business as usual is saying that how do you integrate non-financial data or non-financial issues into finance? So already your ESG is your non-financial, and sustainability is saying that how do you connect financing to environmental and social matters? Now, the standards have been there. We have likes of the IFCs, the World Bank, the African Development Bank. They are the guys that really started this to say that how do you incorporate this into investment decisions? Lately, we have the various standards from the IFRS coming up with additional standards, saying that beyond your financial IFRS reporting, can you consider non-financial reporting into this? And there is a new standard called the S1 and S2, which is saying that to be able to integrate this, you need to align with your business as usual, considering your strategy, considering your risk, considering your matrices. And the last one is, I think, has to do with targets, right? And also governance. So what we are saying is that there's a general disclosure, and also there is one that is focused on climate exposures. So what the reporting is saying that whilst you are doing your reporting, kindly consider this non-financial reporting governance structures, align it with your strategy, align it with your risk management system that you already have, and also your reporting standards. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So in essence, you need to incorporate this in everything that you do, from strategy to reporting.
Exactly. It's not a siloed approach, so that's why the earlier standard was called integrated sustainability reporting, because it's not a standalone, it has to be integrated through these 4 pillars that I just mentioned. Yeah.
All right, John, a follow-up for you. So practically, right, sometimes you see entities want to do this, but they have challenges. It could be capacity issues. It could also be system issues. From your experience, how can companies address this so that they really make this come to life?
So the first is, as you said, is sharing knowledge, letting people understand, or letting the CFOs especially understand that this is not a risk conversation. It has never been a risk conversation. Yes, there's risk. There is also the value proposition. How do you look at these issues as not just issues that can't be resolved, but they are barriers that need to be identified, assessed, managed. And also, how do you, I call it, valutize and monetize these problems? If we say that business leaders, we are there to be resilient and respond to, how do you respond to risk? Whether you're a government, you're a private sector, you're a bank, you are there to solve a problem. And how do you look at it from a point of view, from an opportunity point of view? So give an example. I'll give 2 examples. So if you're a bank and you are looking forward to reach a certain market, or you want to solve a market failure, that is, women are not given enough funding, how do you solve that? Is one, by looking at your portfolio and identifying what are the key women-owned businesses that are there for you to scale them up, right? And what do? You think around it, come up with a product that are linked to women-owned or women-led businesses. And what do? You want to ask the question, how can we scale them up? They may need partial credit guarantees, they may need capacity or knowledge, and these are all social and also economical matters that you are solving. Another example is saying that Ghana has an NDCs. These NDCs are called nationally determined contributions. How are you as a bank or as a finance leader trying to solve, or trying to see how you can respond to climate change by bringing innovation and also bringing in funding to support businesses that are being affected by climate change? Or you'd want to reduce greenhouse gases, but how do you do that? Is thinking around it not as a problem or as a risk, but also looking at it from an opportunity point of view. How do you connect the dots from barriers to seeing that I can design, let's say, a net zero fund to be able to support the challenges within the climate change? So these are practicable examples that business leaders need to look at it, not just looking at it from a risk compliance point of view, but also looking at it from a value proposition and also how to convert it to good opportunities.
All right, thank you, John. On the note of fund, Salifu, you are in the petroleum sector, and in your sector, there's a lot of pressure on you to decarbonize and all of that. But
am from the Gambia where we are doing exploration. I've joined the industry for the past 7, 8 years. I can tell you it's one of the biggest industries that have contributed in our national coffers. So if someone is sitting somewhere, develop their country, have a beautiful coffee and say, yes, climate is a challenge. We're saying, yes, it's a challenge. But let us be responsible enough as a continent to get our resources and develop our people with those resources. We say responsible drilling can be done in the oil and gas. But financiers now with this imagine of green bond, we're struggling. However, as an industry, we have these metrics that we looked at from the ESG perspective. We believe social should be anchored in the policies that we have. Not only the fiscal regimes, where you have the taxes, where you have the royalties, but we believe in local content as well should be core in deciding on funding. All funders now will ask you, what are your what are your environmental issues? How are you going to mitigate the environment? But we are saying, within those frameworks, within those conditions, social issues should be factored. The local content component, the use of local goods component. Today, Ghana is having a local content conference. And many don't talk about it in terms of the financing. A former banker with EcoBank and Access. If you look at the instrument that those institutions are looking at, usually environment is one of the core that they put in. But please, as African, let's not accept anyone to define our funding needs. Let's look at what our system needs. Let's look at what our environment needs. Let's look at what can change our people to embed that in our financial architecture to guide us. That's why I'm saying it's not going to be a is climate our problem, or do we have social issues? Once we answer this, then we can build our financial architecture to reflect our needs. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Salifu. So, please do it better for him if you're clapping. All right, so what I hear you say is that, yes, even though you're in the hydrocarbon space and there are a lot of issues, you can do it in a responsible manner. So, yeah, I hear that. Yesterday, the president of Maldives and is here, he mentioned the potential of Africa when it comes to sequestration, right? So the question, this goes to all of you, so Carl, you can weigh in. So how can African countries and companies take advantage of this potential, the potential of Africa? I think he gave a number. We are doing about 60%, 600 million multiplied by 75, that's about 80 billion or so. So the continent has the potential as far as sequestration is concerned. how can countries and companies position themselves to take advantage of the carbon market and all of that. So maybe Carl, you can weigh in on this, and then I can take views from the rest of the panel.
I think the starting point for the carbon market is agriculture. And how do you make sure that the smallholder farmers can produce better, more efficient, and increase the yield that they have? And in doing so, the ability to improve what is produced locally is enhanced. To me, that is really the critical part. If we can increase the yields that we have, if we can make more people employed through agriculture, we will be in a better position. Now, the carbon market is nascent on the continent. So we have then an opportunity to define what it will look like for us and how we can then make sure that those that need to buy have a market for it. At the same time, we have to ask ourselves, the market that we are creating, who is it for? And how does it benefit the average African?
So I'll weigh in a little bit. So in certain countries, carbon is a new commodity. So how do you monetize and valutize carbon? And also, how do you put in the mechanism? So in Ghana, yes, we have a carbon program that we are currently onboarding, and we have successfully been able to cash in some carbon credits. The conversation is how do we create an enabling environment for the private sectors to be able to participate in this? One key thing that we don't see yet is how is the financial institution taking advantage of it to look at how can you look at your lending model, how can you use carbon credit as a collateral. I think not much work has been done with that, and also we need to look at it from a point of how do we work it out in such a way that the share structuring of these carbon credits are both given to the clients that are giving out the loans, and also the bank could also be a participant to the share structure of the carbon credits.
Yeah. So I will want to point out to the fact that to benefit from a good carbon credit potential, one of the things that will be needed is in what manner can it be measured and quantified. Having a standard which is easily doable, which is something which all companies and regulators are able to identify. So the starting point will have to be measurement and identification of opportunities in terms of each of the policymakers as well as the corporations. And once that identification and the measurement happens, I think that is when the next step will be, in some manner, how do we translate this into cash flows? And those elements can also be in form of, I think as my co-panelist said, can it be used as a collateral? Can it be traded? Can revenues be earned out of it? It can also be in a slightly differentiated manner. The environmental potential of Africa, in what manner can that lead to indirect ways of revenue generation? Let's say tourism. Are we encouraging tourism in an area, ability for generating renewable energy which is able to decarbonize some of the mining related industries or sectors, and that can contribute to some of these aspects. There is a lot of potential, and starting from building a good policy, building a good measurement, and providing a tool that will enable this to be translated into cash flows. I think that is when some of these potentials can be seen in form of financial
a policy, yes, with specifics in regions, because each country have your own specific competitive advantage within this block. And from there, a policy from regional level or a continental level can be done, then regional level be done. From there, we can look at how best it advantages, because socially, I'll come back to that as Africans. In these lands that we are talking about, you have animals that need to feed into these lands. What is the impact of those animals? We have people without electricity and gas to cook. They need this to be done. Is this factor in this system? No. So I think the policy framework should be assessed realistically and contextually before we talk about selling. Before you sell, there is one saying in our local language, which means before you prepare and sell, you prepare and eat. And I think Africa, we are hungry. So we need to feed ourselves first from what we have before we think about selling on those emitting. But of course, an assessment can be done, whether the value that they are seeing is there, but which is not done. This is technically imposed. I don't think a proper assessment is done to see whether it's value for us to be selling this carbon. Because as far as we are concerned, our emission is a tiny fraction within this. So I will come up with the opposing views as they're coming because of my industry, and for people to be reflecting on this, because we have policymakers who decides our fate as people, but we have an unborn generation that we need to protect as well on all these lands. And mind you, you are selling this to corporations. Our land tenure systems are being owned by individuals. With time, most of these corporations will tell you don't have access to these lands for other national development agendas. So as a bloc, as countries, I believe that we have to assess this very well and make it to a more contextualized for Africans. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So as a bloc, Africa, we need to do our own assessment and see how this works in our interest. Let me come back to Pawan. From your perspective, newly emerging regulations as far as ESG is concerned, like the CBAM, what's the impact of that on exporters from the African continent?
Yeah, see, some of these newer regulations, and again, CBAM may be just one of them. There are multiple new ways in which the world is looking at environment related measures. Sometimes it is being used as a tool to keep the markets less competitive, and there are all of these elements around it. Fundamentally, if we look at some of these aspects, they tend to obviously make it costlier for the traditional exporters to access some of these markets. It will mean higher costs for exporters. It will mean that the producers invest into newer technologies to be able to meet some of those standards and expectations. Now, how do we handle that is obviously collectively looking at and using. I mean, it's end of the day a trade negotiation and a leverage, which is what will need to be looked at perhaps collectively. But till then, the only way is, I would say again, look at markets which are beyond, which do not require such regulations. In the long term, however, again, while the need is obviously to grow and to develop, at the same time balancing it with appropriate technologies will only make the producers more competitive. Now, therefore, if the producers look at it as a cost, then the alternative will certainly be to evaluate newer markets, maybe reduce the growth ambition. But if we look at it as an opportunity to be able to become more competitive, to invest in newer technologies, these are opportunities that will make our businesses more sustainable, allow some of these markets to be served by us rather than someone else. I think it's the perspective perhaps that will decide in what manner do we want to move. But certainly these are measures, these are aspects, and these are regulations that are going to become, and therefore preparing for them, working towards them is perhaps the way forward. And I would only say that a lot of times we may believe that these are costs. Yes, these are costs, but they help us make more efficient. And anything that makes a business become more efficient makes the business more sustainable, which is really the goal of any enterprise. So instead of looking at these as constraining regulations, they can also be looked at as enabling tools for us to look at and become more efficient. At the same time, it also requires a lot of work to be done together with policymakers, because there are standard, for example, norms that CBAM requires. Now, if any nation, let's say Ghana or South Africa, who are exporting some of these commodities to the European nations, if they are not able to demonstrate or measure, again coming back to the measurement, some of the standards, energy requirements, carbon requirements, then default measurements will be imposed. And they actually may be worse than what the reality is. So the preparation towards some of these will require collective effort of policymakers. It will require individual effort of the producers to be able to handle and move forward.
Right, thank you. So if you are a finance leader here and you export a lot and you operate in a sector that is carbon intensive, you need to be paying attention to this, because when this gets implemented, you may be impacted. So thank you for that. John, let me come to you. What can regulators do in ensuring that ESG and all of these maybe where it ought to be in their respective countries where they operate and all of that?
So, sorry. Hello? Yeah, so I think so Bank of Ghana in, if I quite recall, 20
the highlight of tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, before I do that, allow me once again to mention our esteemed and our wonderful partners who have ensured that the last 2 days have been absolutely possible. We want to say a big thank you to you, KPMG. Thank you very much to Joy Business. Thank you to you, International CFO Alliance, ICFOA, to Nguvu Limited, Access Bank Limited, we want to say a big thank you. Ghana Exim Bank, we say a big thank you to you. Flock Pharma, African Bank, we are very grateful. Reserve, we celebrate you. Thank you very much for your partnership. Really, truly appreciate. As we switch gears, please warmly welcome the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of administration at the Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana. Please welcome Honorable Nana Oyebampo Addo.
Thank you very much and good evening to you all. I hope there are some lawyers here and not just finance professionals. Lawyers in the house? Great. Thank you. The Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer of EcoBank, the Group Chief Financial Officer of MTN Group, Vice President, Finance and Chief Financial Officer of the African Development Bank, Chief Executive Officers and Captains of Industry, esteemed finance leaders, lawyers, and professionals, members of the organizing committee, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Presidential Advisor on Finance and Economy, Honorable Seth Terkper. On behalf of the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah, and the Office of the President, I bring you warm greetings and appreciation for the opportunity to join you in this year's African Finance Leaders Awards Night. It is being held under the theme, Celebrating Financial Excellence. Tonight's ceremony rightly honors distinction and achievement in finance. It is a gathering with a purpose, and we reflect on our economic and financial architecture. Therefore, permit me to reflect briefly on the broader theme of this year's conference, quote, Profit, Risk, and Scalability, the African CFO on a continent in a flux. Across Africa, the business landscape is transforming rapidly. The continent's economy is valued at over $3 trillion, and it is projected to expand further by the end of this decade. It is driven by a young, ambitious population, rapid digitalization, and opportunities that have been presented by the African Continental Free Trade Area. Africa remains rich, not only in natural resources, but in resilience. Our renewable energy potential, as our colleague from Gambia spoke to, is growing, and we have growing consumer markets, and these continue to attract investors despite global economic challenges. Yet this growth brings with it its own risks. This includes currency fluctuations, capital flight, debt vulnerabilities, market disruptions, and land degradation. It is within this complex environment that African finance leaders operate as a prudent risk manager, as well as builders of lasting value. In Ghana, the reset agenda of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama reflects the same spirit of recalibration, restoring economic confidence, stabilizing markets, and creating a predictable environment for private enterprise. Since January 2025, the government of Ghana has implemented targeted reforms to strengthen macroeconomic fundamentals and to promote investment. These are some of the notable achievements of the government. Declining inflation. Inflation dropped to 11.5% in August 2025, the lowest in 4 years. This marked the 8th consecutive month decline and beats the end-of-year target of 11.9%. Cedi appreciation. The Ghana cedi has appreciated significantly against major foreign currencies. It currently trades at 10.92 cedis to the US dollar, and this reflects improved market confidence. GDP growth. Economic activity continues to strengthen, and in Q1 of 2025, growth was at 5.3%, Q2, growth was at 6.3% year-on-year, driven by a strong performance in the services and agriculture sectors. There is also improved confidence. Business and consumer confidence indices have reached their highest levels in 7 years, according to the Bank of Ghana. We have reduced fuel prices and some agricultural transformation. These interventions form part of a broader national effort to restore economic stability, to deepen financial inclusion, and ensure that Ghana's financial system remains robust, transparent, and forward-looking. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's finance leaders face an era truly defined by flux. It is a world of shifting regulations, unpredictable markets, and a fast-evolving technology. But within this flux lies extraordinary opportunity. So African finance leaders must now wear multiple hats. You must be a strategist, you must be an innovator, you must be a digital integrator, and an ethical guardian. It is not enough to just balance the books. The task is to balance profit with purpose and risk with responsibility. President John Dramani Mahama has consistently underscored the need for African nations to mobilize domestic resources. So we in Ghana preach financial sovereignty. We must reduce at all costs dependence on external financing and pursue sustainable self-reliant growth. And this call applies directly to you, financial leaders. You finance leaders hold the levers of transformation. You have to ensure that institutions operate efficiently, value for money, transparently, and also focus on accountability. Whether you are in the boardroom or you are in the budget office, your influence extends far beyond budgets and financial statements. You are in the lead in shaping economic integrity of all nations. So tonight's gathering is not just a celebration of achievements, but it's a reaffirmation of purpose. The honorees are being recognized here. They have demonstrated sound finance and said that it is not just about profit margins, but it's also about foresight, about integrity, and about impact. So let us remember that Africa's transformation will not be built just on speculation. It must be built on structure and systems. It will not be built just on aid. It must be built on accountability. It will not be built just by chance, but on strategic collaboration. The government of Ghana reaffirms its partnership with all of you, financial leaders, to build an Africa where profit coexists with purpose and where risks become the catalyst for innovation. So let's celebrate tonight's awardees. Let their excellence remind us that African finance leaders are not merely navigating the flux. They are defining the future of finance on the continent of Africa. Thank you very much. May God bless our continent, Africa. May God bless our businesses and our beloved Ghana. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nana Oye Bampo Addo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that officially brings us to why we are here, the highlight of the last 2 days. Tonight, we are honoring financial excellence. We are launching the Africa Finance Leaders Awards because it's important that we depict what excellence truly means, and for which reason we are honoring some of our leaders, even though we honor each and every one of you, but some of our leaders here in this room and across the continent, you know, from public and corporate financial sectors. And of course, these are companies that have listed among the top 250 companies across the continent of Africa by the Africa Finance. Ladies and gentlemen, let us start off with our first category, but you have to give me a round of applause first, because this is awards. You know, yesterday I started off by saying they said that CFOs are not the coolest, but after 48 hours with you, I think you are the best. So tonight, we've got to make the kind of noise that makes the world wonder, where are all the world CFOs? They're here in Accra and they are celebrating excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, with due honor, to bring to the stage our first presenter for our first award. If I may kindly ask the Secretary General of the CVF V20, otherwise also celebrated as the former President of the Republic of Maldives, Your Excellency, if I may kindly have you on stage to be our presenter for the first 3 awards. Please warmly welcome His Excellency Mohammed Nasheed. And if I may have our first award coming up on stage. Excellency, you stand oh, you've done this many times. You stand center stage for me. Ladies and gentlemen, our first category is Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth. And the winner, where is the award? Is walking here. All right. It's here. I saw it myself. All right. It's on its way. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner for this award is someone who is being recognized for her exemplary leadership in sustaining the group's financial excellence amid dynamic market conditions in 2025. In the first half of 2025, the group's gross earnings rose by 18.3% or 13.8% to 2.5 trillion naira. Ladies and gentlemen, the individual who is winning this award is none other than Access Bank PLC's Ibukun Oyedeji. And I'm informed that Ibukun left yesterday, so Access Bank, you will do us the honors of picking up this award in her stead. Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations to Ibukun and by extension to Access Bank PLC. Congratulations to you, Ibukun, wherever you are. Congratulations to Access Bank. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Sweetheart, you stand over here for me, kindly, because I don't want you to trip on that stair. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our next recipient is receiving this award for establishing excellence in corporate financial performance and growth. Now, this person is receiving this award because of her outstanding leadership in steering the group to a robust financial rebound. Under her guidance, MTN Group achieved a 23.2% increase in service revenue to $5.6 billion. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, today is also a very special day for her. Please warmly welcome the winner for the Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth, Solofelo Molefe. Solofelo Molefe is the winner for the Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth from Group MTN. Fantastic. Congratulations. Congratulations. Solofelo, you've got to stop. Stop right there. I'm going to embarrass you. DJ, cut the music. Normally I wouldn't do this, but today is Happy birthday to you. Sing with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Tolo. Happy birthday to you. A round of applause. You win on all sides tonight. Well done to you, my dear sister. Oh, DJ. And you know why I'm late. Don't mind me, I'm just very silly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, we've got one more in the categories for which you're here. Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner for this category leads a finance team of approximately 250 professionals across 35 countries. Under his leadership, he has established that the company has strengthened its financial resilience through landmark transactions, including Eurobonds and sustainability-linked debt, significantly enhancing its presence in global capital markets. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner for this is none other. I feel like he knows who he is. Dr. Ayo Adepoju. Congratulations, Dr. Ayo Adepoju, for winning Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth, and of course, with Ecobank Transnational. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Well done to you. Please, a round of applause for our winner. Thank you. Well done to you. It's not your birthday, so I shall not sing. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I lied. You've got one more. Only one more. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our next is Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth. And this organization, ladies and gentlemen, has established leadership not only in what it is that it does, but also leadership in its sector. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner for this category is ADB. ADB, where are you? A round of applause for ADB as they are represented here, coming up to pick up their award. Thank you so much, ADB, for establishing excellence in corporate financial performance and growth. Another round of applause for ADB. Congratulations, ADB. And now, Your Excellency, you may take your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may kindly ask Honorable Seth Tepek to please help us with presenting the next 3 awards, it would be an honor. I know I had promised I was going to leave him for the night, but unfortunately we can't do that, our dear chairperson. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Honorable Seth Tepek takes the stage, the category right now that we are going to be honoring is Excellence in Corporate Financial Performance and Growth. Now, the winner for this category, whom we're honoring, has served over 18 years of establishing his expertise in finance, audit, mergers and acquisitions, and treasury management across multiple countries. Under his leadership, First Bank Ghana has maintained operational discipline and achieved steady financial progress, strengthening its brand and itself in the banking industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner for this is Semiu Lamidi from First Bank Ghana. A round of applause. First Bank has their representatives here. Semiu Lamidi, congratulations for establishing and exhibiting excellence in corporate financial performance and growth. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we move into our next for Honorable Seth Teppeh to present Excellence in Fiscal Policy and Political Economy. It gives me great pleasure to give this award, or to mention that this award is going to the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Ghana, who is being honored because of his establishment of his leadership, helping Ghana's sovereign credit ratings to show incredible improvement, with, of course, Fitch upgrading the nation to B- with a stable outlook in June 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, please warmly, warmly, warmly acknowledge the winner of this category, Excellence in Fiscal Policy and Political Economy, Honorable Dr. Kaziel Atto Forson, the Honorable Minister of Finance of the Republic of Ghana, and we'll ask the Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff to do us the honors of picking up his award. A round of applause. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Honorable Nana Oye Bampoado, for doing that for us. All right. Honorable Seth Teppeh, only one more and you're free to go, I promise. Excellence in Fiscal Policy and Political Economy, ladies and gentlemen, goes to the Republic of South Sudan. Do we have a representative from the Republic of South Sudan? If not, Hannah, I know you are sending it to them next week. May I kindly ask you to get on the stage and pick it up for the Republic of South Sudan. Excellence in Fiscal Policy and Political Economy. Thank you very much, Madam Hannah Auku, Executive Director of CACFO, doing us the honors, and she will deliver the award to them next week, as I'm reliably informed. Honorable, you don't want to stay with me? You want to go? You can go. That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, please warmly welcome, we couldn't do this without her, our special guest of honor. Please warmly welcome the Honorable Nana Oye Bampoado, Deputy Chief of Staff responsible for administration, to do us the honors of presenting our last 3 awards. Please warmly welcome her. And this award will be going to an individual who has established excellence in monetary policy management. Ladies and gentlemen, I go straight to it. We are honoring the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama. Thank you very much. We have a representative here. Yes, thank you, sir. Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama is the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. He's being honored with this award of excellence in monetary policy management in 2025 for his exceptional leadership in stabilizing Ghana's macroeconomic environment during a period of post-crisis adjustment. Thank you very much, sir, for doing that for us. Our next award goes to an individual who has established and showcased excellence in monetary policy management. Ladies and gentlemen, this award is being given to His Excellency Najib Mohammed Issa from the Central Bank of Libya. Do we have a representative? Yes, we do. His Excellency Najib Mohammed Issa, Central Bank of Libya, is being represented here and being celebrated here in Accra for his excellence in monetary policy management. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, last but not the least, we have Excellence in African Development Finance. Honorable Nanoye Bampoado, please do us the honors of presenting this award to Africa Finance Corporation. Africa Finance Corporation, congratulations, establishing your excellence in African development finance. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Africa Finance Corporation. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable, we are done with you. Thank you very much. You may take your seat. A round of applause to all the winners. And as they take their seats, as Honorable Nana Oyeli Bampoado takes her seat, let me kindly ask our winners, please come on stage. All our winners, kindly come on stage. All our winners, our honorees, please come on stage with your awards so we can grab a group photo. All our award winners, kindly come back on stage. Thank you so much. Photographers, are we ready, please? Meanwhile, may I kindly have Reindorf Annual Partner Accounting KPMG Ghana, please stand by for me. Get ready to outline the categories and how we came to our winners and their names. We'll do that immediately after this. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all the honorees. Congratulations for establishing and showcasing your excellence across the continent of Africa. Photographer, are we ready? Please hold up your awards. This is a great time for you, a great time for the industry, a great time for the sector, and we truly, just one more please, we truly celebrate you. Congratulations one more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our honorees, our winners, establishing excellence, as has been said countless times, and establishing resilience. I would like to call up Reindorf. Reindorf is going to do us the honors on behalf of KPMG to outline how the nominees came to being. So Reindorf, I will give you the stage for a nice, cool 3.5 minutes. Please warmly welcome him.
Good evening. Oh, good evening. Okay. All right. And when Anita mentioned my name, I said Reindorf Partner Accounting. So accounting for awards, accounting for, no, I'm not a partner for accounting awards. Yeah, accounting advisory. All right. So in terms of the awards, this year, it's the maiden edition. It's an honorary one. I'm outlining the processes that is followed to determine the awardees. Really, the whole point is to ensure transparency and fairness in the process. So, underlining this, we look at 7 main objectives, no, 5 objectives. 1, promoting excellence. 2, to foster innovation. 3, enhance competitiveness, recognize impact, and encourage sustainability. So these are the principles underpinning the awards. And the categories, we've already gone through it. So maybe just to go through the process. People were shortlisted or nominated. Then, in terms of this, we assessed or looked at the position of the people. So if you look at all the people that were awarded, no, you have to be a person or a CFO reporting to a board. Your leadership position is something that is taken into account, right? So you have to be a person who have also been in the position for not less than 2 years. And in terms of reporting, as I've indicated earlier, you should be reporting to the board, or if you are in the public space, reporting to a minister or a chief director or so. So that is the eligibility criteria that is used. In terms of the nomination, so you either self-nominate, either you are nominated by someone or a delegate or the CEO, or by research that is done. Then, once that is done, we receive information, a form is populated. Once that is populated, we also look at your financials, your financial information, and other information. I can't go through all of them. Then again, an evaluation panel is constituted to evaluate, by our support as well, all the information that have been received. So we go through with the panel to assess and determine the overall awardees. So to summarize the process, we receive your information, we check whether you qualify or not based on the criteria that has been set. The panel that is constituted evaluates the potential awardees, and that is validated. Then the approved persons are then defined to be awarded or determined to be awarded. So in essence, this is the process. So for this year, part of this process is what was applied to identify these awardees. But however, next year is when the full activities will be utilized in judging the awardees. This year, in the interest of time, we couldn't have gone through the entire processes, but in the coming year, we will go through this whole process from the nomination. So for this year, some of you who were nominated, you would see that probably you didn't self-nominate. But in the coming year, it will be by self-nomination and the processes that I have outlined earlier. So this year, we had to work with the conveners to shorten the process in order for us to be here to get to the point where we are today. But next year, we're going to go through the whole cycle, as I have outlined earlier. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we came by the awardees and the process to be followed in the coming year. So come next year, those who want to be awarded, you need to put your skin in the game. You have to self-nominate, or somebody from your side must nominate you. Then the process will continue. The criteria that has been defined will be applied. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Randolph. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to bring this August occasion to a wonderful close, it gives me great honor to bring to the stage and to the podium the Executive Director of CACFO. Please welcome the one and only Hannah Awuku.
Good evening. I'm sure you've heard my voice too many times over the last 2 days. Maybe I would have to establish the protocols again. Good evening, Your Excellency Mohammed Nasheed. Good evening, Honorable Nana Oyelita. Good evening to Honorable Seth Terkper. Thank you, Your Excellency, Ambassador from the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you to all the diplomatic corps leaders that joined us earlier but had to leave. Distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, partners, and friends. This evening, on behalf of the Conference of African Chief Finance Officers, CACFO, I want to say on the continent. We look forward to welcoming you again, stronger, wiser, and even united in purpose. Thank you all for your time, your insight, and partnership. I wish you safe travels to our international delegates and speakers, and continued success in all your endeavors. Today, we are building Africa's financial future, one decision, one innovation, and one leader at a time. To our distinguished honorees, thank you for being here with us. You are deserving of every accolade. We hope you will answer our call next year when we call upon you to join us for another impactful session. Thank you and see you at the next session of CACFO. My gratitude to you all.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a cocktail and time for us to engage, to talk, to share a few thoughts before we leave, and it's happening right outside in the holding area. The stage is available for our honorees and, of course, for your companies if you would like to take photos immediately afterwards. But until then, we thank you so much for your time, your effort, your attention, and your great spirit. My name is Anita Erskine. It's been an honor serving you tonight and, of course, yesterday as well. Have a good night.